So who are we? There we go. So I'm Resh. I am performance lead at Foundation. I've been a part of the company for almost 7 years now. And my role here is all about keeping up with the industry insights, trends, and creating partnerships with beauty and wellness brands who want to grow online. So I'll be talking today about why the holidays are big business, with some tactics that you can have around SEO and PPC that you could actually use today. We have Olivia. She's our senior strategic account manager, and she helps clients understand their marketplace and define success within it. She's amazing at creating innovative strategies to achieve client goals. And today she'll be talking about the festive strategy and content tactics as well, alongside the 2023 opportunities that you might want to look into later on. Finally, we have George. He's our social media specialist, and he's also designed this presentation. So well done, George. He's worked in different industries in social and influencer management roles as well, from beauty to skincare and aesthetics. So feel free to sort of type in any questions on the chat section. Kieran's mentioned we're ready any questions if you have any, and we'll sort of be collating them for the end of the session itself. Kieran's in the background, he's not on camera today, but he's our marketing manager, and he'll be able to help you out with any questions. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So a quick introduction about Foundation for those who haven't come across us before today. Foundation is a digital performance marketing agency, and we specialize in SEO, content, PR, social media, and paid. Being a part of Liberty Marketing Group, we have over 15 years of experience as an agency, and we're very passionate in terms of what we do. We bring this to each project that we work on as well. We've worked with many beauty brands across most parts of the beauty world, and that naturally meant to us that we have a unique insight on how the market works. So we decided to set up Foundation a few years ago to cater specifically to the beauty brand industry. Now that you know a bit more about us, let's dive into the webinar. So I'll move on here, and here we go. We're starting now. So there's data gathered by Statista where people state that they're more selective in terms of what they buy due to the impact of cost of inflation and cost of living, and inflation. The average order value within retail has gone down year on year. It used to be at almost £24 in 2019, and now last year it's been under £21.50. So you can tell it's going down year on year, but that doesn't mean people are not spending. They're just looking out for deals, if anything. So beauty consumers are 7% more likely to label themselves as price conscious. These consumers are looking to get good value out of limited time offers. So retailers, as yourselves, brand owners, they need to be strategic about what and when they start promoting. You can start using offers to create a sense of urgency with what you want to get across, and you'll be able to generate more traffic and sales to your site that way. All of this means in order to succeed at Christmas, you need to come prepared. So last year, Christmas sales amounted to about £82 billion, and about 35% of this, at £30 billion, was online. And this figure is growing each year. The pandemic brought about a huge growth in the beauty industry. So the focus on self-care, looking after yourself, that took place during this time, during the pandemic, when you couldn't actually go out and get to a store to buy something. And it made it so easy for users and consumers to actually buy beauty products online within that time. And this is how the beauty industry benefited from that. So there were more products being sold online than ever before. Specifically with prestige beauty sales, almost half of the sales happened in November and December. So the beauty sales increased actually by 46% in the week before Christmas. So these may be the last minute shoppers, someone like myself. So you can tell it's big, right? It is something that we're looking into. The reason why Christmas is big then at Christmas, why beauty balloons at Christmas, it's gifting. The top 3 gifts that UK consumers are happy to receive are money at sort of 44%. Then there's clothing and shoes at 40%. And then cosmetics, perfume, and body care at 39%. So as we cannot influence anyone sort of gifting money and clothing, you can certainly, as a beauty brand, sort of place your brand in front of the gifters who are looking to sort of give gifts during Christmas. With gift purchases, since 86% of beauty shoppers buy gifts for Christmas, this is a significant opportunity for brands to promote their products as potential gifts. Beauty brands can create specific marketing campaigns. You can highlight your products as suitable presents or offering gift sets or limited edition items as well, sort of adding the urgency within that time period. You can have special packaging as well to attract customers looking for gift ideas. With Black Friday, we have 35% of beauty shoppers, they're planning to buy their presents on Black Friday because of the potential cost saving. So this suggests that this day can be crucial for brands. It also implies that brands could consider incorporating Black Friday promotions and discounts into their Christmas marketing strategy. So offering, again, attractive deals or bundles or discounts, you can entice the shoppers then to make their purchases during that period, especially as we saw on the last slide, but people are sort of making their purchases within November and December time. They're sort of scrambling to get everything done then. And in terms of researching products, like 61% of beauty buyers claim that they use or they will use a search engine to research products before they buy. So it just implies that brands need to have a strong online presence as well. And you can invest in SEO, paid search as well. You could focus on optimizing your website content, product descriptions, keywords as well to ensure your products appear prominently in search engine results. Additionally, if you invest in online advertising, you could look into influencer collaborations and social media marketing as well. And this will help capture the attention of potential customers that are actively researching beauty products online. Overall, beauty brands are planning if you're planning a Christmas marketing strategy, you should leverage the gift giving trend. You can capitalize on Black Friday. You can prioritize digital marketing efforts to reach and engage potential customers during this sort of their product research phase. So by implementing a target campaign, you can offer deals like we've already said. You can maximize your online visibility, and brands such as yourselves can increase your chances of success during the holiday season. So now that we know how much money is on the table, it's more important than ever to start thinking strategically as soon as possible. So by December, 20% of consumers have already finished their Christmas shopping. So although the official Christmas ads don't come out till sort of late October, early November time, we know users are using online, they're jumping on online to get inspiration, and a fifth have already finished by December. So brands need to ensure that your campaigns are in the market by potentially September time. You can maximize the longer sales period. The earlier the users see your brand, the more trust and recognition your brand will have with greater brand recall. So launching campaigns early will also give you a competitive advantage. You can get your messaging in front of consumers before the market's swamped with Christmas campaigns and consumers becoming overwhelmed. It also pays to start early, both from a budgeting perspective and making use of those quieter months, if you want to call it that. So summer months are typically thought of being sort of a bit quieter than usual. And if you can get ahead, you can start planning early. You can use your resources to strategize and plan, and where possible, actually execute. So this will hopefully mean you've got more time come the peak period, and you can react in that time, and you can optimize your campaigns as well for the best results. So I'll pass over to Liv now, and she'll talk you through the strategy and the content tactics.
Thanks, Resh. So yes, I'm just going to move the slide. So I found it really helpful when thinking about timings to break it down to these 4 areas. So planning, strategizing, executing, and optimizing. So when you kind of put it down into a timeline, you actually realize that there isn't that long until Christmas at all. There's not really a lot of gaps here. So it's not often us as marketers that we get such a long time to plan for these campaigns. Normally we might get like a week or two to execute something. So we know Christmas happens every year. It happened last year, it's going to happen this year. So let's use this time that we have wisely. So I really, really recommend start thinking about your Christmas campaigns now. First of all, look at last year's data. So what worked really well? What products sold well? What ad copy drove the most traffic or the highest ROAS? What terms were searched for the most, and what out of your competitors, who ranked well for those? What blogs brought in the most traffic? And then thinking about what trends and products are actually going to sell well this year, and how can you feed these into your campaigns? So once you've got your concepts and your creatives, we really recommend soft launching as soon as you can. The sooner you launch your campaign, the more time it gives you to test and learn and optimize. You can adjust your copy, your visuals, your creatives, and you can kind of feed into what's working and what's not. So we're now going to take you through some of our tactics for all the different digital marketing channels we offer here at Foundation. So from a content perspective, we wouldn't actually approach our Christmas campaigns very different to how we do any other campaigns here at Foundation. So some of the core initiatives we would look at are: who is your audience? Do you have defined personas? And do you have a clear understanding of how you speak to each of those audiences? Secondly, we really recommend getting to know the seasonal products inside and out. Have you got new products, especially for the festive season, or are you pushing your best sellers? And how are you going to make those stand out in a very crowded market? We would then undergo some long-tail keyword research to help us identify the keywords that we want to target, both across your Christmas category pages as well as your blog pages. We'd be looking for keywords such as the best gifts to give mum this Christmas, or stocking fillers for makeup lovers, as well as any bundle or deal related skincare Christmas related keywords, and basically find out which of those keywords have the highest search volume behind them. We had some really great success with one of our clients last year. We managed to get them in the top 3 positions for both their Christmas collection page as well as their Christmas blog gift guide for skincare related Christmas terms. So it really shows to actually start planning early and strategically, and you can get some really great results. So after we've done that, we'd look at some content gaps within your website. So do you have a gift guide already? Do you need to create one? Or do you just need to optimize it and upcycle it so it's relevant to this year? And finally, as with all of our channels, we really recommend an alignment across all the channels. So our content teams work hand in hand with our SEO teams to ensure that all of the opportunities across the website are maximized. And our social media teams help us identify new trends, which our content teams turn into content, and then we use our social to platform that content. And our content teams are continually working with our paid team to create fresh, new, optimized ad copy. Now over to Resh, who's going to talk you through some of the SEO tactics.
Thank you. Thanks, Liv. So looking at the sort of SEO side of things, the main thing to note is the timing. You need to start early with the creation of pages and ensuring these are optimized for search engines. The effects of this would take time. So there's a few things you can consider. So researching keyword research, essentially, you need to conduct thorough keyword research to identify relevant keywords related to Christmas, Black Friday, Boxing Day, and New Year's sales related to your brand with gifts and offers potentially. You ensure you're targeting sort of long tail keywords that have high search volume and low competition ideally. And you could look at sort of content optimization itself. So how sort of Liv mentioned earlier, it's important for SEO and content teams to work together. They go hand in hand. So optimize your website content to include landing pages, blog posts, and product descriptions, as I mentioned earlier, with the identified keywords from your research. So ensuring that your content and messaging is valuable, engaging, and true to your brand, but also tailored to the Christmas and end of year season. You could incorporate keywords naturally within your content itself while maintaining readability. You have to make sure the users are sort of getting the value from your piece that you've written. So you start by reviewing your best performing product pages potentially from the previous years, and then you can create a plan, a priority plan to ensure key landing pages are optimized. You could also look into seasonal landing pages. So you could create dedicated landing pages specifically designed for your Christmas and Black Friday campaigns. These pages will be optimized for relevant keywords, and they'd feature sort of holiday themed content with offers and promotions. Include a compelling call to action as well, and make it easy for visitors to navigate and then convert potentially. You can place a link to a top 10 gift guide, for example, from those sort of that landing page itself. You need to ensure your site is technically sound, and just to pay attention to that side of things, just make sure that it's easily crawlable by Google or another search engine, and is indexable as well. So again, optimizing the page load speed, ensuring it's mobile friendly. You could use descriptive URLs, and you could implement sort of structured data markup as well, just to sort of ensure that you've done everything you can to sort of get high visibility in search results. So getting this done in advance of the season will help you ensure that you have the best technical footing for when you're actually ready for the holiday traffic to hit your site. Finally, then we've got link building as well. So you can develop a link building strategy to increase your website's authority and visibility. So this is how you impress Google. You will need to sort of ensure that you have relevancy in everything you do, basically on site. So for example, the quality of your content will matter alongside the keywords that you use and the engagement that you get from sort of users on your site itself. With the offsite part, you'll need to build on your brand trust with backlinks. So you could reach out to sort of relevant websites or influencers in your industry to secure those backlinks. This would essentially showcase to Google that you are a trusted sort of brand within the industry. You could also showcase authors' expertise by publishing their names and small, short bios of the bloggers that actually you use on your website. And any social sort of shares and content clicks also help boost your sort of brand trust. When you're running sort of a keyword research as well, you might find that you're finding those terms sort of come up, search results come up for like Vogue or Guardian or Best Buy gift guides and so on. Those will be ranking for the keywords that you're potentially sort of looking to target as well. And that would be where potentially you'd start looking and sort of seeing what you wanted to do. This is what you should be doing, getting into those guides. And that's something that sort of Foundation sort of does as well within the PR team. But that would be something that you could consider as a quick win, because obviously the competition is quite high as well at that time of the year. Then I'll move on to PPC. So a few tactics that you could sort of take away from PPC is reviewing what you did last year, such as the same thing as SEO. So for any opportunities that you might find in order to increase your year-on-year sales. So these things would include reviewing your highest converting keywords over November and December, reviewing the ad spend that you have a plan around it all, and make sure your budget is in line with your goals as well. You'll be able to sort of identify high return on ad spend winners compared to low impression shares. And again, you want to boost those, you want to push those products as much as possible as well. Keyword planning comes into play here too. So you look at keywords such as gifting, presents, holiday, anything relevant that's sort of a relevant theme to your brand and what you sort of want to offer as a business as well, with sort of potentially next day delivery, some codes, just looking back at the sort of the audiences that we looked at as well. So people are looking for deals because they're price conscious. As a beauty buyer, people are more price conscious than sort of any other sort of demographic. So we'd want to consider as well which top performing and high ticket price products are relevant, and you can break them out into their own campaigns as well and push those specifically, and just making sure push what works. You know what works, let's just work on that. You'd also consider sort of which consider your shopping feed, make sure that is up to date as well. You need to include the shopping prices, make sure they're reflective of any sort of deals that you might have, codes, promos and things like that. You just want to avoid anything last minute popping up from Google saying that you've sort of have a violation and you can't run any ads then, because that will be a bit too late to sort of rectify in time for your Christmas campaigns. If you also ensure whatever you're pushing in your feeds, in your campaigns, you need to make sure you've got high stock availability as well, because obviously you're doing such a massive push. Just make sure you've got that in stock. You would then start a brand awareness, the drive for it sort of now until potentially September time. You can build up the audiences then, and then you can have a strong conversion rate over Q4 by pushing sort of remarketing as well, using those sort of pools of data that you've got within those users that you've captured before. And you could then focus on targeting both new and returning customers. So hopefully that's been sort of a bit helpful to sort of understand a few tactics that we would use at Foundation. And we'll move over to George, who'll talk to you about sort of social campaigns and what not to do as well.
Thank you so much, Rash, and thank you, Liv, for all that insightful tactics. So I'm going to start with social media campaigns, and one of them being one of my personal favourites from last year, but also one of the industry's best was Dior's. And it was an incredible campaign. The aesthetic really pulled through well together across social, but also as an immersive experience. And we can really see that from how they produce their social content. Around this time, users on social media want to start seeing what's going on around the festive period. And Dior was one of the first to kind of break into that festive content, which was on the 28th of November, just as we were verging out of Black Friday and going into the festive era really. As you can see from the imagery that I've used on the right-hand side, it's really about emulating that effortless, luxurious aesthetic that Dior do so well. And the social content really complemented that aesthetic really, really well. As you can tell, that Dior do have a really big budget. So if you are a smaller brand and you want to kind of be a part of this sort of like luxury element, you can still do this, make your experiences a bit more immersive. Dior were really renowned for their immersive experiences last year, where they had the J'adore Christmas tree. They lit up Harrods with a gingerbread house, which was a personal highlight for myself as a consumer, but it's a brilliant opportunity to allow those consumers to be a part of it physically and online. And they also had the French Chateau and the Enchanted Dinner as well. So those were like some of the key events that were taking place across social, but also in person as well. As you can tell, the products were very much focused within this, although they wanted it to be lifestyle. Products are really a main focus, and consumers do not want to see clutter around this time. So what they wanted to do was make it how Dior can be a part of the lifestyle. And that's something that really we need to see focusing around this period of time. In terms of engagement, Dior were fantastic. They really did hit an ultimate peak, which we saw across data. They started off the end of November with 11.5 million followers, and as it grew through that, they were still around that 11.5, but they grew in about 300,000 followers during that period of time, which is a real win organically. And we can see that the engagements were very much authentic. Post-Christmas, they drove a new campaign which talked about more sustainability and ethics, and how the boxes that the products would come in, you could also allow children to be more creative in that sense and start producing their own instruments and talk about what they wanted in the future. So we're seeing the future consumers being more sustainable and more ethically sourcing that they want their products to come from. So it's a really clever move from Dior. The next campaign that we've looked at is on the complete other end of the spectrum, but an absolute titan in the beauty industry, which is Boots. And Boots had a really clever campaign, especially through their advertisement, where it was the joy of giving. And you saw very different scenarios taking place across traditional media assets. But as for social media, they really focused on that user-generated content, and they used the campaign 5 Golden Brands, which sounds very familiar from the 12 Days of Christmas, which is 5 Golden Rings, where they featured 5 different brands across various different demographics that they home into, from Kylie Cosmetics to LMS Skincare. They really wanted to make sure that they were approaching all these different demographics and making sure that they felt very valued. Obviously, during this period of last year, we were going through more of a financial crisis. So they really wanted to make sure that they were giving you those promotional deals. And that's something like Resh and Liv have mentioned before, is those promotional deals are very essential during this period of time. Consumers want to be able to see how they can get those best deals and how they can light up their grandma's eyes at Christmas. I know that's something that I always try to achieve. But for content wise, we saw the traditional unboxing videos and tutorials that were very much heavily led by influencers across the page, which is something very cleverly to do because you're now reaching those new audiences and you're seeing that exposure in the untapped audiences as well. I've seen loads of different comments across their social board kind of saying, oh, I wish this was stopped in Australia. So we're seeing that organic conversation taking place, but also they wanted to add in the tap of this sparkle of entertainment value. So they worked with a lot of famous TikTokers and also entertaining creators that made it a more of immersive experience to get you inside that store. Very similar to Dior. They wanted to make sure their consumers were very valued around this period of time. So they really wanted to push you coming into store, whether it was the 3-2-1 deal on Benefit Cosmetics, or they wanted you to come in to try out the new Fenty skincare range. They wanted you to be a part of that. And we could see all types of those format of content being really pushed. As with engagement, they did really, really well. They had a substantial amount. It was only on the 24th of December where they had a massive spike of 105,000 people. Yeah, I said that right. People engaging across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter organically, where they promoted their last minute deal. And I can definitely tell there was a lot of people going into those stores to purchase those last minute gifts, which was really fantastic. And we can see from organic socials that a lot of people are going, oh, I need this. I really need to get this sorted. So we're seeing that sort of community vibe come together. And then following on, we wanted to kind of ask you a few questions in what you think what you could do as well. So it's asking those key questions about your social media campaigns and your campaigns in general. So how can we entice the community to create user-generated content? People want to know authority. They want to know authenticity. We talk a lot in the office about products that we love. Like before we came on this call, we were all using products that we genuinely love to use, just so we looked all lovely for you this morning. But it's also a massive focus to kind of have those conversations, and seeing those online are really, really important, and using influencers that have similar ethos to you is something that does radiate really, really well across socials. Who are you talking to? Those key demographics. You really need to make sure that you're focusing on those key demographics of your audience. How can they be a part of how your business grows, and how, as a Christmas campaign, how can they be a part of it as well if you wanted to do something more community-led or community-focused? Smaller influencers, I've always preferred over the larger ones. I feel like the authority is very much there, and they do have a very solid authority with their following as well. They are trusted, they are valued, and they do increase a lot of profit for businesses. So if you are a local beauty brand and you're looking for influencers, niche down, focus on the areas that you really want to see improving, even if it is in a micro area. That can develop and become very much macro. It's not always about having the massive budgets, but it's about how you make those consumers feel when you go into your store, or how they see everything online. It's about making sure that they're really the clear focus around Christmas, because as we all know, we're all buying presents for everyone. And are using digital to tie together your festive marketing strategy, like really focus on how each end, and like Resh and Liv just talked through the tactics, are they all lining up? Are they really speaking to your ethos and your brand guidelines? Think about how you don't want to sway away from who you are as a brand, but how you can adapt to the cultural landscape as well. But that is all for me, and I'm going to pass over to Liv to talk through the trends of 2023.
Well, thank you, George. So yeah, now that we're in campaign planning mode, we thought it'd be useful to kind of talk about some of the trends that we're seeing in 2023. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything brand new that no one's ever seen before that's going to set your holiday season on fire. Instead, we're seeing some similar trends that we've seen over the last couple of years. Sustainability and clean beauty is not going anywhere. It's still as important to consumers as ever. We've seen one report showing that 82% of consumers want brands to practice sustainability and embrace people-first practices. So even with the cost of living crisis, consumers are seeking value. And according to one piece that I saw on Think with Google, this drive for value might actually lead them to make choices that are better for the environment too. Personalised gifting has been gaining in popularity, and this is set to continue too. Even in beauty, there are many ways that you can spin generic products to give them a unique and customizable feel. From monogramming your bags, pouches, tins, any packaging, to tailor-made bundles that you can offer for gift packages. Wellness and self-care is also set to continue, as this is reflecting the evolving lifestyle and attitudes of the consumer. Obviously, this is fantastic for us as a beauty industry, as there are so many opportunities that brands can lean on to maximise this wellness and self-care trend. Finally, the popularity of collaborations is still as popular as ever, but brands do need to embark on these partnerships a little bit cautiously. As the rise of the de-influencing trend, consumers are a little bit more cautious. So choosing the right partnership that aligns well with your brand, one that strengthens your product offering rather than just being a bit of an obvious marketing ploy. So we'll keep a close eye out for new trends in the run-up to holiday period. I'm pretty sure we're going to see this on TikTok, but we do also use other platforms to keep us up to date with trends. One that we love is Exploding Topics. We post about these on our blog and our TikTok and our Instagram, so give us a follow there and we'll keep you up to date as much as possible. So finally, I thought it would be a little bit remiss not to talk about how brands can succeed given this difficult time. It's going to be a really tough year, or has been a tough year, for both consumers and for retailers. So ensure that your marketing messages, that you're demonstrating both the short and the long-term value. So emphasizing the affordability of your products and services, highlighting any of the cost-saving benefits, perhaps your competitive prices, the quality, any discounts or promotions that is going to help your consumers save money and see your products as an investment, despite this rising cost of living. Consumers are going to pay more attention to your brand if you can show them how your brand offers quality without compromising on affordability. And this may help differentiate your brand from your competitors, who may only focus on the short-term gains. Transparency has been a focus for consumers for a while now, and now more so than ever. Brands should really try to avoid any hidden charges or surprises that are going to strain the consumers' budgets and further hurt the trust that they have in you. Clearly communicating any warranty or refund policies can help build trust and reassure consumers about their purchase, and it's going to help them convert, as well as offering any flexible payment options like Klarna, for example, to accommodate customers who might be facing financial constraints. This is going to make your products or services more accessible to the price-conscious consumer. Finally, consumers are increasingly conscious of social responsibility, their consumerism and sustainability. So by demonstrating your brand's commitment to these issues through various initiatives like partnering with charities or local community organizations, or just the practices that your company takes in being more sustainable, it really shows your consumer that you're recognizing what's important to them and the challenges that they face today. I'm going to pass you back over to Resh.
Thank you, Liv. So this is the end of our webinar. I'm going to just summarize basically what we've spoken about today. So essentially, Christmas is a big opportunity for retailers. We just need to keep that in mind and start planning as soon as possible. Brands need to start campaign planning right now if you can, to get ahead of competition and give you more time to sort of test and sort of learn and sort of optimize as you go along. So then you can align your strategy across all your digital channels and sort of offline activations as well. And finally, you can think about what's important to your consumers and tap into this as well. So just giving yourself enough time to sort of just adjust everything that you need to do, basically. So this is it from us today. I wanted to just thank everyone for your time, for joining us. Thank you for sort of listening to us as well. We'll be able to share our recording and presentation with everyone attending and also not attending. I'll send that over to you later. But I just wanted to sort of check if anyone had any questions, any sort of queries that you want us to sort of cover before we sort of say, see you later for today. I mean, feel free to write anything you need to on the chat. I think Kieran had a question sent to him earlier, but if there's anything else that anyone needs to sort of get answered, then we can. Otherwise, we can always sort of email it later.
We have one question here. Should I answer it? Yeah, of course. So we've got a question here saying you've mentioned prepping your site pages. Would you suggest one page for Christmas and one page for Black Friday, or a dedicated page for each? And what about January sales? So I personally think it's great to have dedicated pages for each of those holidays, because the search volume and keywords are going to be very different for each of those holidays. So if you're having them as separate, you can optimize and you've just got more chance on actually ranking for those keywords. We did do a big audit at the end of last Black Friday for one of our beauty clients, and I literally could not find a beauty brand that didn't have a dedicated Black Friday page. So yeah, I would recommend having separate pages for both your Christmas, your Black Friday and your January sales. Any other questions? Oh. Do you mind if I answer this? Yeah.
So the next question is, do you have any insights on B2B beauty? When do businesses start shopping for Christmas stock, etc.? So I've worked in various landscapes within B2B beauty, and it really is about speaking to those stockists, like getting in touch with them kind of through, I would say around like July, August time, to see when they are going to start loading in through, you know, beauty products, and like where they're coming from and how you can get involved with it quicker. There are sometimes opportunities for those promotional discounts, so you could see if you can get kind of a bit more for what you're purchasing for. But yeah, those would be my top tips, is just make sure you've got that contact with them around July, August time, just because, you know, there is that aspect of if you leave it too late, then your consumers are going to be, you know, a lot later purchasing them.
Yeah, also just to add to that, George, I used to work within buying and merchandising for a big retailer, and I know that we planned our Christmas stock way earlier than Christmas. So actually, they probably have a lot of their range already lined up. So actually, if you speak to your kind of buying and merchandising teams about their Christmas products, they probably have them all lined up already. So yeah, in terms of what products you want to stock, I think now is as good a time as ever. If you leave it too late, you actually might run the risk of not having the right product that you would like to stock.
Right.
Yeah, any more questions? If you do have questions at any point, you can just email Rash, and we're happy to kind of chat more about this topic.
Yeah, definitely. So this is it for today. Like Liv said, feel free to email me. I'll follow up after this webinar anyway, so you'll have my email address to hand. And if anyone sort of wants to get in touch, I'm more than happy to help. And thank you, everyone. Thanks for sort of making the time out today, sort of listening to us, and we'll sort of send an invite over for the next webinar that's potentially coming up in like a quarter. So we'll see you then. Well, take care and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
And we're clear.
Oh.
I'm just